Power Talk with Archanna. Power Talk with Archanna is your platform to grow your business. We help you turn your idea into a brand, create its presence to reach your target audience. Representing L&D Global today, we have with us Madhusudan Dutta. Madhusudan is a part of my professional network and based in Gurugram, India. As the director at the DRC Global Leadership Consultancy, he brings with him 3 decades of experience in the areas of strategy, turnaround, leadership development, execution, personal and interpersonal effectiveness. Let's welcome Madhusudan. Hello Madhusudan, how are you doing today?
Fine, Archanna. Thank you very much for inviting me in your show. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you so much. Very pleased to have you with us, Madhusudan. So as we start this journey today, so we would want to know from you how the current scenario has really affected employees. Being in the VUCA world that we are today, we see that employees are really driven towards launching themselves into entrepreneurship. So as per you, according to you, how can organizations really hold their interest to continue with their 9-to-9 job with as much passion as they did before the pandemic?
Thank you, Archanna, for this wonderful question. This is a very relevant question in today's world after the pandemic. So I think this is a two-part of the question. One is when you're talking about people pushing out for their own entrepreneurship and how to hold back the people, retain the people in the organization post-pandemic, and which includes the talent management also. Talented people. So, the first part when you talk about, it's really unfortunate about this pandemic situation where we are seeing the economy is getting affected, production getting affected, job market is shrinking. So obviously there are certain people who are moving out and obviously trying to stand on their own feet. But with my personal experience, a decade-long experience which I've seen working as a national head for learning organization, learning and development, and doing an ODI, I find there are a lot of guys who comes with a very clear vision, saying that I'm going to have about 5-10 years of corporate experiences, and then I'm going to move out on my own to do my own entrepreneurship. So these are two ways of looking at it. However, when you're talking about the retention part, I would like to highlight, a recent study of 665 global organizations, conducted by Institute for Corporate Productivity, which is popularly known as I4CP. They found out that half of the best employees surveyed admitted to talent hoarding or staying in the current roles for a longer period of time. Now, talent hoarding can hold back employees' careers, ultimately have negative effects on the business, and which is ultimately affecting the organizations. So the focus was talent mobility. How to create that talent mobility, deploy talent to meet the needs of the business, its customers, aspirations, and employees. And looking at this, there are 4 areas which could be really focused into for keeping people engaged, keeping people employed in the organizations for a longer period of time, and also connecting to their passion, how they can really survive not only in their own organization, but they can also grow. First is reward managers for development. If I say the first point, so developing talent sounds like an easy win-win. Employees growing their skills and moving forward in their careers, while employees benefit by having more talented, happier workers. But the question is whether there is a buy-in from the employees. So 63% of respondents in the I4CP survey said that their organizations had no formal reward mechanism. This is one of the major reasons where people were moving out. Number 2, saying that encouraging employees to be more independent, creating a more mobile working culture shouldn't be the responsibility of the managers or the leaders itself. Employees need opportunities to put their skills to work and show leaders that they are what they are made of. That means their potentiality has to be exposed, demonstrated, and given acknowledgement. So they need to be comfortable making decisions of their own. Again, there is a survey by SHRM. 55% of the people surveyed says that their opportunity to use their skills and abilities at work are very important as a contributor for the job satisfaction. And this is where another thing which is not being looked into. Third point which I'm talking about is setting goals with the employees. So when you talk about setting goals, without development, employees feel that they are putting in their time for employer without getting closer to their own goals. So here, it's a new perspective which we are trying to relate. It's not only the organization goals which to achieve some objectivity, but it is also personal goal. That means creating a synergy of my goal and the organization. So most of the organizations being seen that is not getting aligned. And the last part, which is saying is making career advancement clear. So if I am, again, the talent mobility research report says by Lee Harrison that 24% of the organization surveys, it says that, they face lack of organizational understanding of talent mobility and how they could be looked at. So all this put together, there is a lot of reflection which happens in an organization, whether they can really be there or not. So it is not only the attrition happens because of the people around for the dissatisfaction, it is also the organizational needs and the requirement to hold the employees. So by putting this all together, I think, that creating that passion within the person to stay around in the job, whether it's post-pandemic, whether it was pre-pandemic, remains more or less the same. So, of course, the opportunity also comes in. As soon as the market expands, market opportunity is there, you can move around if you're not meeting your objectivity and the goal.
Great. Lovely. I think you're quite right there, Madhusudan. All said and done with it, it's very, very important for companies to hold the attention and to hold their employees, because it's so very important for companies to have the employees stay aligned to their mission, vision and goals, and for them to stay with the company so that both growth, it's not only about the growth of the goals of the organization, but also their personal goals, so that both the energies work together and we see growth in totality. Lovely. Great. So Madhusudan, tell me one thing. We know that, L&D is a very critical initiative, all said and done with. But we also know that, it is so very important today to learn and keep learning, keep evolving. That is something very important and needs to be kept in the forefront for everybody. So what do you think all organizations today can do very differently, think outside the box to keep driving that culture of learning among employees?
Yeah, there's another wonderful question, when you're talking about creating about this culture. So the way learning takes place in the workplace is changing. It's very much changing. What it was earlier and what it is today is absolutely different. So it is no longer about a single course or workshop that employees must take in. It is all about creating a culture where the people grows along with the culture of the learning. So here, when we talk about, I would just highlight about some actionable ways which can be created. Which creates a culture of learning. One is to make learning a core organizational value. One is when you talk about creating an organizational value, you're talking about successfully building a learning culture, where employees should feel that leadership supports it. It's not only my requirement, but our organizational requirement. It is together they build up the culture itself. Subsequently, we say is about developing personalized learning plans. Earlier, personalized learning plans make learning more relevant to employees, and this turns learning into a journey. So by setting learning goals and strategically developing a plan to achieve them, employees will be more engaged in the process of the learning itself. So it is not only having a very common goal, common learning plan, it is also be a learning plan where we can individually identify what it is. Like we have it in IT organization mostly, where everyone is not having the similar kind of a curriculum to go through. They are going through in their own strength in their own area of jobs what they're doing. Next, what I would like to highlight is give personalized career coaching. So coaching is becoming very, very important today. Many learning motivations stems from the career ambitions. And when organizations offer one-on-one coaching, they can help individuals identify their career opportunities and develop personalized learning plans. So this is another area. I think this is coming very well into the organization as the days going by. The coaching is becoming very, very important, specifically the one-on-one coaching. Leading by examples. The next point I would like to highlight is leading by examples. Organizational leaders at all levels are engaged and dedicated to their own continuous learning. So it reinforces a learning culture. It has to be a top-down process. Earlier, we used to see that learning is only identified for a specific areas or a specific level of people. But now what we're talking about, if I have to create a culture, it has to be a top-down process. So learning where the learning expands from top to the bottom. Then we are talking about providing the right rewards. There has to be a reward system. Like it can be a soft reward. When I talk about soft reward, it can be just a mere acknowledgement in front of everyone, or it can be a hard reward, which can be a promotion, which can be a cash rewards, anything of that sort. But it has to have an acknowledgement of that I am enhancing my career along with the learning process. So the organization also has to come forward to collaborate in that learning process. Have the right learning environment, which is another very important factor. There are many options available for learning platforms. The learning environment organization uses both facilities and support learning. It should provide the opportunity for knowledge sharing and interactions with the learners or amongst the learners. It has to be a very open by sharing what I have learned, and relearning process has to also take place when the entire learning environment is being created. Ingrain learning in hiring process. So we are talking about, if I have to create a learning organization, it has to have from the hiring process. So when I'm talking about hiring of people, I am also highlighting about how my organization is engaged on developing people, giving you a platform and make you more relevant to the position of the job or the areas of working you are doing it. And it is not only that, it is also helping you to grow further. And lastly, which I would like to mention, is create a meaningful training program. Employees need to feel that they are a part of something bigger than themselves. When they are engaged on a higher level, it supports the efforts to build a learning culture. So all this putting together, if I can create an environment, if I can create a culture, I think it also gets correlated with the first questions. My retention also becomes much better. Attrition decreases because apart from today's environment, to the youngsters, they are not only looking for the packages, but they are also looking for their growth and their learning process within the organization. So that collaborates, and gives a full 360-degree environment of creating a learning environment and learning culture in the organization.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much, Madhusudan. Thanks a lot for coming on board and speaking to my audience. Indeed, been a very, very enlightening conversation with you. Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful life ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Archanna, for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.